Welcome to Unapologetically FLY, the podcast dedicated to giving you the tools, inspiration, and information you need to finally live for yourself, no matter the age, situation, or circumstance. I'm your host, Renee Mitchell-Simpson, the self-love and happiness coach and founder of Well Diva Lifestyle and Travel, the premier luxury wellness travel sisterhood for the flyest of aunties. Now get ready to ride along on my journey of reinvention, even at this big age, because sis, I need you to know it truly is never too late to fly. And by fly, I mean finally live for yourself. I can't either, but... Okay, welcome to another episode of Unapologetically FLY, and I am your host, Renee Mitchell-Simpson, and I have my dear friend, Denine here. Denine Rogers.
Yes.
Because why am I thinking of, what was your maiden name?
Young.
Okay. I think, did you used to go by Denine Young Rogers?
Yes, we did. Yes, I did.
You still do, or just Denine Rogers?
I don't know, but I'm still trying to get
Okay. So we have my good friend Denine Rogers, and Denine and I have known each other for several years.
Oh, it's been a long time.
Like the 90s.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we were dietitian. Well, no, Denine was a dietitian, and I was the secretary in the nutrition department because I was still getting my dietitian degree, my nutrition degree, when we met. But we've stayed in touch over the years. We met here in Atlanta. I moved to California. I'm back, and we've reconnected.
Welcome back.
And thank you. I'm so happy to have you here today. Denine is, you have a, what do you want to talk about first? It's up to you. We're going to talk about it all.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm Denine Rogers. I'm a registered dietitian. I have two businesses. One is Living Healthy Skincare, where I make my own skincare products, and I talk to patients about nutrition and skincare. Using both of the treatments have been very helpful for a lot of my clients, and a lot of them have been able to deal with their issues and problems of skin based on the fact of having nutrition and the skincare products. That's one. And then the second one is integrated functional nutrition, which is Living Healthy. There, I'm a registered dietitian in that part, but I deal with gut health, menopause, which my friend and I are going to have a menopause summit in January 2025, virtual.
Virtual menopause summit. How can they find out more about that?
They will be going on to livinghealthy1.org. We will be posting up a separate website for that very, very soon.
Living Healthy One, the number one?
Yep, the number
Living Healthy One.org.
Right, correct,
Okay.
correct. So.
And do you have the dates for the summit?
Well, we're looking at the end of January, but it has not been confirmed. So it'll be like the last week of January. We're looking at it, just start off the new year right.
So if someone goes to that website now, they can just sign up for info?
I will be today. I'm going to change it and put it that to today.
Okay, so visit livinghealthy1.org. Okay. Now, the reason I wanted to have Denine on is because this is all about being unapologetically fly, finally living for yourself. And Denine, you were married for how many years?
28.
Wow. Denine was married for 28 years. And sadly, her husband passed away. It's been a little over a year?
Yeah, it's been a little bit over a year.
Okay. And so I wanted Denine to share, I mean, she survived, one of the greatest losses. But yet she is thriving in getting into her business, and that's you're finally living for yourself through doing your business. You want to share more about that?
Yeah, my husband and I, we've been married for 28 years, and unfortunately he succumbed to his illness. He was a kidney transplant patient. But it was 28 years of, loving, blissful. There were things that could have been a lot more done during them years, particularly with businesses. We used to have our businesses combined together, and it was in law enforcement. Mine was basically nutrition. But 10 years ago, unfortunately, his health deteriorated, so I had to put my business on hold. So my life was sort of on hold for 10 years, which was hard. A lot of times we have goals and expectations and thinking that, okay, by now I should be here. and these should have been done, but life does not work that way. And I found that out the hard way. But I wouldn't take anything back in helping him and trying to get him to a better, better way of health um, during those 10 years. He wasn't supposed to last that long, but he did. He did. And it was challenging, it was hard, but I knew that once he passed and he told me, okay, I want you to live your life and I want you to do your business. I want you to travel. I want you to do everything that you weren't able to because you were taking care of me. And I thought that was the biggest grace that anyone could ever do for somebody. So that's what I'm doing right now.
Go on, girl.
Yep.
So I know it's only been a year.
Yeah.
But what are some of the things that you've done with your business during the past year?
Well, I reopened it. Right now, I'm starting social media. I am reopening my YouTube station, which is Living Healthy. And I'll give you the information on that there too. And then also, I've gotten back into my hobbies, which was making soaps and body butters, and looking at finding out things that I had passion for so long that I put on hold and trying to relive it. So it's sort of like shedding a new skin. Type of thing. So it's challenging, it's hard, but I'm hopeful, and I know that God, like I told my husband and a friend of mine, that whatever God has in front of me, I'm going to partake in, and so I'm living my life through whatever God has for me to do.
Yeah.
So.
All right. And so a while back, you shared with me how you felt like your husband was maybe giving you some guidance in the business. Do you remember that?
Yeah, my husband is some people already might know him very well. You know him. Eddie Rogers is his name. He was a very gregarious person. Like when you come to meet him, he is so open and warm, and but he kind of invites you into his world. And when you have when you deal with a person that had that type of personality, sometimes you fall back in the shadows. And I noticed that over the years, myself being kind of sheltered when I was young, and I married him when I was young. He was 11 years older than myself, but I put myself in the background, and he was more in the forefront. So when we did our businesses together and opened them together, he was sort of like the spotlight, and I was like, in the background. But still, I was involved.
Yeah.
But based on his personality, I mean, he would be able to do a sale within 5 minutes.
Wow.
When it would be, for me, hours.
Okay. So now that's all on you. So how is that going now?
I've been tapping into some of the things that I see what he had done, and then also I'm tapping into my own self, because when I decided to reopen up my business, I was like, oh, I can't do this thing. There ain't no way I could do it, because I knew that if he was here, I would have no problem.
Yeah.
So I had to pray on it, ask God to lead me and tell me what to say, what to do. Every interview, every talk, I would get so nervous. I would get anxiety attacks, but I knew that I had to put myself out there in order to be out there. And I had to feel comfortable in doing it. And the more and more I started to do it, the more and more I started to be more comfortable. So
that's what it takes.
I know it's kind of
It's
hard.
You doing
I wish it wasn't this hard, but life is hard,
It can be. It don't have to be.
No, yeah, that's true. That's very true. That's very
We
true.
get what we expect, and we get what we create, and we get what we focus on.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. And then also, like, I would tell people who are married, that make sure you converse with your husband and what their wishes are and what their wants are. Because my husband, he was a law enforcement He was New York NYPD cop. And he did worked in many areas in law enforcement. So when you deal with a person such as that, that is always in front of danger, they never think that they would pass on.
Oh,
They
okay.
always feel like I will be here forever, you know. And the thing is that when his health deteriorated, he was not prepared for, oh, I might no longer be here. He always been like my quote unquote protector,
Yeah.
but I end up being the protector towards the end.
Yeah.
So I had to get the strength
Yeah.
that I relied on him. I ended up having to do it, which is very hard. And you're not ready for that. But I think that sometimes I wish that we had that talk when he was diagnosed with diabetes and being in the field. You know I deal with diabetics and renals, being a dietitian.
Right.
You know when those who stray and not do what they're supposed to do, what ends up and the repercussions from it.
Yeah.
It was hard to talk to him about those type of things because he never think that would ever happen. So those are some of the things that I always tell married people: have that talk to each other, know where you're coming from, and know that, hey, one day you might be alone.
Yeah.
So if you don't talk about that and it happens, you're kind of shocked about it because now you have to scramble and get everything, that including bills, that include everything, let's just say everything.
Yeah.
And you are running and constantly in a rat race and trying to get ahead. And it should be that way, but sometimes it does. And some couples, whoever's left behind, sometimes they feel overwhelmed that they can't do it at all.
Yeah.
And sometimes their life expectancy ends up being a lot shorter.
Right. Because that's a lot.
Dealing with the grief and the finances and all the other stuff, the emotional part.
Right. Denine, I want to talk a little bit about, because I know a lot of people don't know this, but when you have something like diabetes and a lot of diseases, your lifestyle choices can affect the direction that disease takes. A lot of people think, okay, I got diabetes, that's that. It's just going to take me out of here.
Touch of sugar.
Yeah. It's like this old school mentality of, you got diabetes, so the next thing is you're going to get something amputated and, you're going to end up in a wheelchair. And when I first started working at the hospital with you guys, I had no idea that the outcome could be, this way or that way, depending on your lifestyle choices.
Right.
And so I know you mentioned, your husband having to make certain lifestyle choices and how he managed his diabetes. Is it okay to share a bit of how that impacted you all?
Oh, yeah, definitely. My husband has been when he was diagnosed with diabetes, as a wife, you tried to help out. I was his dietitian until I quit because he would not change his habits. So what ended up happening was that when I was working at Grady, I sent him to the diabetes classes there. He did well for a couple of weeks, and then he reverted back to his old ways. Then I got a lot of other dietitians to end up being his dietitian. I think about at least over the years, there's about at least 10 to 12 dietitian friends to be his dietitian in order to make him change his eating habits and ways. But when you have a person, like I said, that has a personality that is just out there and just gregarious and always saying that they're the life of the party type of personality, and everything is fine, everything is fun, but don't really take consideration of their health deteriorating.
Yeah.
And they're consistently doing that eating different foods that they're not supposed to eat. You see their health and life expectancy start to come short. I did so many things to try to change his ways, but it came to a point when I had to listen to someone who told me, I think it was either one of the doctors or it was one of my pastors that told me, you can't change anybody unless they want to be changed.
Right. And that just comes down to self-love.
Yeah.
Like, I can love you all I want, but you got to love yourself.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
Right.
And you would think that his personality, that he would love himself a lot, and I believe he did. I mean, I know that he did love himself, but I think the fact is that he allowed things to take over that he shouldn't have. He should have said to himself, okay, I don't need this. I don't need these type of foods. But when you're used to getting stuff your own way for so long, and that you want things your own ways for so long, and you don't want to change, it starts to catch up with you.
And so in the end, the caregiver has to also show self-love, because your health will end up going down. I always remember with my grandparents, my grandfather had a stroke, or maybe the second or third stroke. I don't know how many, but my grandmother was the one that was his caregiver. And she's waiting on him hand and foot, and she ends up having a massive heart attack and dies. So she passed away several years before him because she was busy being the caregiver and not taking care of herself, you know?
Unfortunately, that's what happened to me too, towards 2 years ago, when my husband, towards the end, my doctor told me, and my cholesterol levels were sky high. I was pre-diabetic. I was 60 pounds overweight. And she pulled me aside. She's like, I understand what's going on with your husband, but if you don't take care of yourself, you're going to be right up with him.
Yep.
And that was the light bulb that I needed to make that change.
Yeah.
And being married for so long, you want the person to be there forever until you go. But I knew, based on our age range differences, and I knew that one day that would happen, that he would pass. But I was not prepared. And you're never prepared. I mean, I don't care what anyone says that they're prepared for the transition, but you're never, ever prepared. You're never prepared. But when my doctor told me how bad that was of my health, that I'll be right next to him in the hospital bed, that's when I said to myself, you know what, I've really got to change. And once I did, towards the last 6 months of my husband's life, he looked at me and said, oh my God, you look different. You look beautiful. What the world are you doing? I said, I'm not doing anything. He's like, you are changing in front of me. And he said, so you're going to live. And I said, yeah, I'm going to live my life.
Yeah, you're practicing self-love, self-care. You're not taking me down.
No, I love you, but I don't love you that much.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to take a break, and we will be right back with more Denine.
Hi, I'm Sherry, and I am a traveler with Well Diva. I have to say, we're here in Amelia Island for the wellness retreat. It's been amazing. This is my third trip with Renee, and she has such an elegant art of glamour and just presentation for all of her trips that it's just unbeatable, unmatchable. We always have a really great time connecting with other ladies, enjoying the area. She picks the most amazing places for us to visit. Has a really great eye for all of the many details that just make it extra special. If you are, on the fence about traveling, get off the fence. Book the trip. You are missing out if you don't travel with Well Diva.
All right, so Denine, what else did I want to ask you about? Oh, I wanted to ask, I know that it hasn't been that long, but are you open to dating?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Excuse me, I will make no assumptions. Denine is open to dating. That's good. Have you done anything, have you been on a date? Have you done any dating?
No, and it's funny because it's been like 29 years since been with one person for so long. So I haven't had a chance to date yet. I am open to, just just to get to know people, but I'm also open to finding myself. That's one thing.
Yes.
Yes. So, and I know that this journey going through right now is very different, but I know that just trying to find myself and learn who I am, and just trying to catch up with what my goals were previously is what the biggest thing.
Okay.
So
Finally living for yourself.
yes, definitely, definitely.
Okay.
And I know that, and just to let everybody know that I am seeing a grief counselor. I am getting counseling. I am going through the process, and it takes time. Like one minute I'm like doing washing dishes, and then it may be a song, or it may be something that I might seen that reminds me of him, and then I go through the grief on that. But I'm learning to let myself go, because a lot of times we hold ourselves back and saying that, oh, I shouldn't feel this way. But the thing is that once you let yourself go, you really release a lot.
Yes.
A lot.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to learn to do that more for myself.
Yeah.
If I do think about him and I feel like I want to cry, just cry.
Amen. It's good to allow emotions to pass through. They say emotions are energy in motion. So you got to let that energy just flow through, because when you hold it in, then that can end up as illness.
Yes, yes, yes. At first, I did kind of hold it in, but then I knew that when I spoke with my grief counselor, she's like, "You need to let it go," because I was having stomach issues. I was having a lot of health issues during that time period, even though I lost a tremendous amount of weight during that time period. But I knew that I had to learn to just let it go. And the people say, well, it may take 7 years. There is no time limit. I mean, there is no time limit to grief. The person will always be there in your heart, and and you remember. But the thing is that you shouldn't hold yourself back from grieving at all. So, and I do want to clarify, because I know that I did say previously that my marriage was wedding bliss. It was for the first 10 years of marriage.
Okay.
But as time went on, and some people might know, when you have someone who had lost a kidney, or had any kidney failure, their personality does change. And then plus over years, the people that you were married to before is not the same person as time goes on. They change. And everybody evolves. Everybody changes.
Right.
But the thing is that I embrace change. Unfortunately, my husband didn't embrace change.
Okay, so that can cause you to grow apart, I believe, because
Yes.
you're growing and he's not. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that creates a huge gap.
And the person that you married in the beginning is not going to be the same person that you're with for 20 or something years. That person changes, and you change, and you evolve. And a lot of times, sometimes the changes could be for the better. But that person may not think that this is for the better, because they're so used to you being that way when they first met you. So, and I think it's based on growth.
Yeah.
The person has to grow and become and understand that, hey, you know what? If I'm changing and I'm changing for the better, then the person I'm with is probably doing the same thing. But if you don't think that way, then you're basically not only stifling yourself, but you're also stifling the person that you're with.
Yeah.
And that person that you're with may get resentful for the fact that, hey, you know what? You're not allowing me to change.
Right.
In the long run.
Yeah. I feel you. Been there. And not that I've been at the point of where I felt like I couldn't change, but I've been in a situation where I felt like I'm the only one that's growing.
Right. Exactly. But then also, it's like when that person becomes ill, and you yourself are healthy, and you're changing, and you are looking for a better future for yourself. That person kind of feels, well, that I'm falling back. I'm not getting better. why should I continue to let you grow?
Oh.
Sometimes some people do that.
Yeah.
So,
No.
you know.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's based on resentment. And I think that the thing is that that person feels that, hey, you know what? There's no way I can continue to take care of myself. There's no way I can continue to move on and make myself better. So then I might end up just holding this person back because I want them to be there for me because I want to be by myself and alone.
Yeah.
And it was like that because I kind of felt that that he did not want to die alone. And I told him, you don't have to die alone. I will always be there for you. But you got to let me grow.
Yeah.
Because if you don't let me grow, then you're not only hurting me, but you're also hurting yourself in the long run.
Yeah.
So.
Wow, that's a lot to deal with, Denine.
Yeah.
You girl, you done been through it.
Yeah, 10 years. 10 years of his illness that he could no longer work. I was a primary income. He could no longer take care of himself. I was 10 years of a caretaker for him. So there's probably a lot of people who are caretakers out there. God bless you. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, that made me think of the video that was going around a while ago about a lot of men in their like late 40s and 50s who hadn't been married for several years or maybe never been married, and now they're looking for a hospice wife.
Yeah, I heard about that. Oh my.
Yeah, so if you hadn't heard about that, so they are like starting to fall apart basically, their health is starting to fail, and now, I don't want to be single anymore. I want to have a nurse, someone here to take care of me, and that is so that's so unfair and so foul. Like when you could have been in relationship for several years and have someone who has, grown to love you enough to take care of you, as opposed to bringing in a woman who, maybe she's never been married or maybe she's been alone for a long time and she's thinking she's found love when she's just found someone who wants somebody to take care of them. That's cold.
It is cold. And I've heard someone who told me that that happened to their aunt. And he married her. And she was so happy because I guess this was her first marriage.
At what age?
She was in her late 50s, and he was in his 60s. And he basically was like, okay, well, I'm not sure to what degree before the marriage that she knew about his health issue, but, he just like really rolled her to the ground,
Dang.
Yeah.
That makes me think of somebody I know. One of my friends, her mother got married. We were all so excited about her getting married. I think this was several years ago. I'm guessing she might have been 60. I can't remember. But she married this gentleman only to find out that he had Alzheimer's. And I believe his family knew and just...
What?
I don't know, but I think his family knew, and it was like, okay, well, now we got somebody else that can take care of him instead of us. And they just pulled back and let her deal with that for several years. She ended up getting divorced because I think he divorced her. Like, he was a hot mess, made that woman's life a living hell. So I say all that to say, ladies, when you are out here dating, you definitely want to have conversations about that person's health. And I say even go with them on a doctor's appointment.
Yes. Yeah. And there's sometimes, like, I did not know for a while that my husband had kidney failure. He kept it under wraps.
What? Ooh.
It wasn't until one day he tells me, we had car problems because we both had our own individual cars. So he said, can you take me to the doctor? I said, well, why you need to go to the doctor? I have an appointment. I said, okay, fine. Took him over there. Then he comes out the door and he said, I need to go to the hospital. I said, well, you need to go to the hospital. I said, let me go in there and speak to the doctor. Went in there and I said, where's the doctor located? And he's like, in that room. I said, that says kidney. I said, what?
Okay, so you didn't even know you had kidney issues at all.
At all. I met his kidney doctor before he went into the hospital because the kidney doctor said, you better send him to the hospital immediately because he's about to lose his kidney.
Oh, wow.
It just
that's
floored
shocking.
me. It was shocking. It was shocking. And I mean, I trust him to go to these doctor's appointments on his own, thinking that, okay, you can talk to me. And this was before My Health came around, where you can go into the portal and you can check on, what labs you got back or see what the doctor has to say. This was before that. This is before when they opened up the records and allowed the patients to have access to the records.
Okay.
If it was back then, I would have definitely checked.
Yeah.
But I didn't know. But it wasn't until, and luckily I did, because the doctor, when I put him into the hospital, they said, luckily you did come here and drop him off to the hospital because he was about to die.
Oh my goodness.
So,
Wow.
and that's where I think that the fact that my husband being in law enforcement, and no offense to people who are in law enforcement, but sometimes when you're in these helping positions, you don't think that, oh, I might one day die. And thinking that you are the savior, that you are strong, you are brave, and all that. You don't think that, okay, hey, one day I might no longer be here.
Yeah. I wonder if that's what they call the God complex.
Yeah.
I heard of it, but I don't know if that's it or, but I heard of something called the God complex where like people in law enforcement, people that are firemen, doctors, people who,
Always saving everybody.
Yeah, save others, have this God complex, like they're immortal.
Yeah.
I think that's what that is.
Yep. And my husband, being in law enforcement, yes, he's been shot at, yes, he's been hit, but he's always
Bounced back.
Like
Like
survived.
Tupac.
Yep.
Okay.
So that probably might be it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was told don't even date those guys. Like, I
was
mean,
26
well,
when
yeah, no, I wasn't told it back then, but but now I'm told that just those are not the best. They don't make the best partners.
But I would say, yes, he was a very wonderful person, loving person. I knew that way he acted was that he was protecting me.
Yeah.
But I told him, I said, I'm in healthcare. I know what the progress and the prognosis and what's going to happen. You got to let me know. And that's what the problem was, is that he never, ever let me know to what degree. It ended up towards the last 10 years of his life, I ended up being physically in all of his appointments and everything, and had to work with the doctors and find out what was going on, because I did not know before then. If I did know before then, maybe he would still be here, but I still don't think so, for the fact that he was not compliant and he wanted to do things his way.
So with all of that, does that give you some bitterness?
I must admit, when he was making this transition, I was very, very bitter.
Yeah.
And I was angry. I felt slighted. I felt like, how can you do this? If you really, truly love somebody, you wouldn't put them in this predicament.
Yeah.
But then also I had to look at his history, his life, his family, and then I see the patterns of why this has happened.
Okay.
But the thing is that I had to learn to let go of that bitterness. When he passed, I immediately went to a grief counselor.
Yeah.
And throughout the process for the past year, I was always so angry. I couldn't even look at, because we cremated him. So his urn is at my house. So I couldn't even talk to the urn. I couldn't even speak to him because I was so angry.
Yeah.
So I've been asking the grief counselor, why am I continuously angry with him? And she said, because you felt that he slighted you, but you have to let it go. Because if you don't let it go, it's going to consume you.
Yeah, it'll make you sick.
So, and I've now forgiven him for what has happened.
Yeah.
My main thing is that knowing that he's at peace, that he's no longer in pain, because the times when he was in pain, he was so angry and hurt because the fact that he put himself into where he was. And I didn't know how much pain he was in until towards the end.
Yeah.
And I felt the pain. I felt his pain where he was going through.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until the night when the hospital took him about over an hour to bring him down to the hospice. And the lady told me, she said, you only have 30 minutes. And I said, how do you know it's 30 minutes? 30 minutes. That's all you have, 30 minutes. He's going to pass on.
Wow.
And it wasn't until I told him I forgive him. And I said, I pray you forgive me because of all the anger that I lashed it at you for the fact that you put yourself in this.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't, I could still feel the warmth in his body. And it wasn't until I said, you can go. I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be fine. You can go and be with your family. And when I said that, he left.
That's when they let go.
They let go.
Yeah. Oh.
But that was the only time that I was able to ask him for forgiveness for my anger.
Okay.
Because I was just so hurt.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize how much pain he was in until that time.
Well, I'm glad you were able to do that.
Yeah. Oh.
All right, Denine.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for sharing that.
Oh, no problem. Thank you. This is like what he said. This is part of the therapy.
Yes.
This is part of the therapy.
Yes.
And I'm just trying to help others. To let them know that even though your significant other is no longer here, life goes on.
Life goes on.
And you have to continue to move on. Too often I see so many people who said that my husband is gone, what am I going to do? And then a year later, they're gone. So many. Oof, so many.
Wow.
And it's like, one thing I must admit to him, that I always lived myself as an individual. My life was not only him. I had my life. And I know that when people say when you take your vows through sickness and health, yes, I agree. I agree to stay with a person for sickness and health if that person treated you and that you loved them so much. But you also, they said that when you marry, you're as one. And some people take it too hard. That's one. Like they said that my husband is my everything. And I say this, you have to find your own self.
Yeah.
You have to find yourself as an individual. You can't make that person as everything for you.
Yeah.
Because they're not God.
Right.
And I've seen it many a times where I see many women, when they get married, they feel like their man is their God, and that they can't be anything without them. And I must admit, my husband always made me as an individual.
Okay.
And that's what I truly, truly appreciated. And that's where I was able to move on.
Okay.
And continue to. So
All right.
I think that's a lot, but hey.
Yes. Thank you, Denine. Okay. And so you said that you have your YouTube channel, that you're going to be getting that together and producing a show.
Yes.
And so what can you tell us about that, and when is that coming?
Well, my show is going to be Living Healthy. It's dealing with nutrition, health, and wellness for women over 50, particularly ones going through menopause. So I am trying to help women to let them know that turning 50 is not the end of life.
Right.
We can do anything that we want to do, and we have the right to do anything that we want to do. Just because that we are 50 does not mean that we have one step to the grave. We can live our life to the fullest, and I know you have been.
I'm loving it.
So that's where it is that I'm helping people to, let them know that, even though our health has definitely changed as years go on, but we can take ourselves and allow ourselves to be healthy, live healthy, and live the best of our lives. And why not, do the things that you always wanted to do but never did,
Finally live for yourself.
Exactly. That's That's all.
All right. Thank you, Denine.
Thank you.
This has been another wonderful episode of Unapologetically Fly. I thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye. Oh, it's back on. Hold on.
Oh, my.
I don't know how to turn it off. Okay. Thank you for watching. Now be sure to like, subscribe, share with your besties, and tell me what topics would you like more of in the comments below, so I know I'm not just sitting here talking to myself. I also invite you to join me in the Well Divas on one of our Unapologetically Fly wellness travel experiences. Visit welldiva.com and select someplace wonderful to meet up with us. Until next time, stay unapologetically fly.